Right there!
Okay, they weren't all that hard. Hi everybody, and welcome back to the channel. It's that retired guy who's lived through the 60s twice and is still having fun. I've got to say that some of the most fun I ever had was jumping out of a perfectly good airplane. Now, 18 years ago this month, I was in Hinton, Northamptonshire in England, and my colleague from the Munich office was in town, and we decided to do a skydive. Now, she did a tandem, and I went out on my own, flew around a bit, and we linked up. So when we got to the ground, she declared, "I am never f***ing doing that again." It's not for everybody. But that was my jump number 700, and as the years went by, I started to think that I'm never going to f***ing do that again either. This year I decided, enough. I'm going to get my knees back in the breeze. And if you've ever thought about jumping, whether it's tandem or by yourself, come on along on this video. I'm back on student status after all this time, and a lot of the training will be something that you'll be seeing if you want to do it. Now, I'd done most of my skydiving at Skydive Sandwich in Sandwich, Illinois. I made 500 jumps there. Now, the place was run by Roger Nelson, who's a member of the International Skydiving Hall of Fame, as well as founding member of the skydiving fraternity, the Freak Brothers. By the way, my Freak Brother number is 1471. Skydive Sandwich was the home of progressive skydiving, and that was run by Roger himself. Starting with the concepts of the book Body Pilot, which was written by Roger's brother, Carl Nelson, the other founding Freak Brother. I suspect Roger had a good part in developing Body Pilot as well. Roger made things fun while pushing all of us to be better. Relative work, or formation skydiving as it's now known, was really starting to take hold. Now that can be one of those large formations you see forming in the movies, or smaller formations that are done in rapid succession. Whatever your preference was, Skydive Sandwich was the place to be. I wasn't in the upper echelon there. I didn't have the time, the drive, and maybe not the talent, but I made plenty of fun jumps, and I was there every weekend. And every once in a while, I'd get in on some of the big jumps that were happening there. My favorite was a 36-way diamond that came together like glue. Here's my logbook entry of it. Just by coincidence, the jump that's logged next to it is when my friends Chris and Cynthia got married in the sky. We ended up on the front page of the Chicago Sun-Times newspaper. I made my first jump in June 1981 in Bristol, Wisconsin. You guys sometimes see this poster on here from the Southern Wisconsin Skyhawks. I learned on military gear, which the reserve was mounted in the front, which we called the belly wart, and it was on a static line which pulled your chute for you, again, just like in the military, like you see in the old movies. The main parachute was round, and that could dump you into the ground like a wounded sack of potatoes.
Oh, fuck! Right there!
Okay, they weren't all that hard. Now, training wasn't as comprehensive as it is today. They were still figuring out how to train students. But I figure if they taught you how to get out of the airplane, how to handle an emergency if it happens in the air, and how to land so you don't break something, they've done their job. And they did. I started jumping seriously the next summer and made about 80 jumps, and then I went to Skydive Sandwich for the first time. And there was quite a difference. The quality of the jumps, the talent of the people, and just the vibe there, it was like stepping out of your Corvair and stepping into your Corvette. I started to get in on some 8-way, 16-way jumps, unusual formations. There were a lot of good fun jumpers there, and we were having a great time. My weekends were full. I missed out on some things, some I regret, but ask anybody, like a golfer who gets very involved, obsessed with anything, and it's hard to balance. There were boogies periodically. These were larger skydiving events at bigger airports with more planes, more people, and a really great vibe. The best of all was the Freak Brother convention, which of course was organized by Roger himself. That started out at Freeport, Illinois. It grew to larger airports from there, becoming the World Freefall Convention. The band Rare Earth was a mainstay at the Boogie. They even re-recorded their song Hey Big Brother to be part of the skydiving vibe.
Hey, Freak Brother, as soon as you arrive, you better get in touch with the manifest brother, because we're gonna skydive, yeah.
There was even a seminal film, Freak Brother Convention, that was put out. In fact, I got a starring role in it. These were good times with good compadres. Now back to the skydiving itself. Now everybody asks, is it dangerous and are you ever scared? Which is a natural question. Now, I'm not going to say everything went right. I did have a few malfunctions. My best one was when I was test jumping a rig for someone else who was thinking of buying it. She was graduating from rounds onto square parachutes. It was a different time back then. So I told her I'd test jump it, but the guy who'd packed it apparently had made some kind of mistake, because when I pulled it, it went up, but it was just a flapping pile of garbage. Simple translation? It was never going to open, and I was still screaming towards the earth at 176 feet per second, meaning I had about 10 seconds till impact. Now that sounds drastic, but if you count out 10 seconds, 1001, 1002, you'll find it's a lot of time. It's an eternity at a red light when you're up there working the problem. I had my main chute released and my reserve pulled before I had time to even think about the situation. Your mind really races as you catch up and work the problem. So the answer to the question, is it scary, is really no if you're prepared. But if you're the type that reacts like this in danger situations, oh my God, you should probably not be up there in the first place. In 1989, my jump started to tail off. I got married that same year.
What a coincidence.
I made about 25 jumps over the next 35 years, finally making number 700 in Hinton, as I mentioned at the beginning. But as you know, I'm now retired and I've got a lot more time on my hands. I think it's about time I got back up there. Now, Skydive Sandwich is no more, but it became Skydive Chicago in Ottawa, Illinois, about an hour away. Worth the drive. I checked the website, but I gave him a call because of my unusual situation. High experience, but a long, long layoff. So I talked to Shay, who really knows her stuff, and I arranged the training. By the way, I never really did consider doing a tandem jump. I've had too many jumps where I'm in charge of my gear and my jump. In any case, if some guy wants to strap himself to my backside, he's going to have to at least buy me dinner, if you know what I'm saying. And I think we're ready to go out to the drop zone. So it's the 23rd of July and I'm back at the drop zone. I completed the 2 hours of video training and not the 4 hours that I thought it was. And I have to say it was first rate. It ended with a 100-question test that was very complex, but I'm happy with the result. Now we're ready to go to 2 more hours of hands-on training with my instructor, Baxter. Hey everybody, I'm here with Baxter. We've gone over the training so far. I've learned how to check the rig. We've gone over the skydive, emergency procedures, canopy procedures, what I'm going to do in free fall, how I'm going to land. We're going to go over emergency procedures on how to jettison the canopy. Let's hope that doesn't happen. And then after that, how to land and have a beer afterwards.
Nice. All right.
Baxter, you think we're ready?
I think we're almost there.
Okay, we're going to go do the rest, and then we're up in the air.
Perfect.
When I talk about checking the rig, you want to make sure that every little thing is in perfect order, especially in that one place up there where it matters the most. You check the main first. You make sure the pin is seated and the loop that it's within is free from wear. You make sure this bridle, which leads to the pilot chute, that's what pulls your main parachute out, first of all, is unobstructed and it's properly stowed away so it doesn't come out prematurely, which can ruin your whole day. Next, you check the reserve. Again, you make sure that the pin is seated, that the loop is free from wear, that it's been packed by a certified rigger, which it has, and that the cable leading to your reserve ripcord moves freely. You also have to make sure that the RSL is hooked up. Well, I call it the Stevens. That's what it was originally called. The young guns call it the RSL, the Reserve Static Line. Looks like those two things are ready to go. Next, you make sure the AOD is in place. The young guns nowadays call it an AAD, but when it comes to open the reserve, I'm into opening, not just activation, if you know what I'm saying. What this does, if you get to 1,000 feet and you're trailing too fast, forget to pull something, it'll blow open your reserve. But never rely on it. Think of it this way, it's like an airbag. I want it in there, but I never want to have to use it. And on the front, follow your threes. You've got 3 straps, 2 leg straps, and your chest strap. You've got 3 handles, your cutaway handle, your reserve handle, make sure they're seated, and of course, the pilot chute, which we talked about before. And you've got your 3 rings. Make sure that they are cleared and moving. You should be ready to go. Just so you know, this cutaway handle, when you pull it, it's one motion and it releases both of these rings in here and your main parachute goes away and you can pull your reserve safely. When I learned, you had a couple things to do to get that out of there. It's a lot easier and it's a lot safer and faster when it counts the most. Now, emergency procedures are the meat of the training. They're the most important thing, and they really treat it like that. Now, these harnesses are simple, and the drill isn't complicated, but boy, is it effective. Basically, you arch, you throw out your main, and you look. Is it there? Is it square? And is it steerable? Now, how do they do that? Well, they show you a picture, and you solve the problem if there seems to be one. For example, the ends of the parachute seem to be collapsed. Well, let's grab our brakes and pump them some and see if they'll come out naturally. Or are there line twists between you and the parachute? Well, you kick them out. You keep kicking and see if they come out. My favorite, though, was when they showed you a blank picture. You ask yourself, is it there? It's not there. That's a total malfunction, and you're still going towards the ground at 176 feet per second. You keep your head, you grab for your handles, release, pull the reserve. And you should have a nice pretty reserve, which you steer for home. There are numerous photos they show you of every different thing that might go wrong. And they go over the optimum way of dealing with each and every one. Sometimes you do nothing, sometimes you try something, but when you get to 2,500 feet, if you haven't decided on something to do, you pull that reserve.
So 6K,
Lock on,
5.5.
wave off, arch, reach, hold, arch. Oh, I've got a hole in there. That's bigger than my head, so I would cut away. Look red, grab red, peel out, punch down. Look silver, grab silver, peel out, punch down, and arch.
Perfect.
This method is light years ahead of the old days when you would chat about the possible problem and chat about the possible solution. Here, they show you a picture of the actual problem, and with these harnesses, you actually have a hands-on way of dealing with the solution to imprint it. It's a really good way of doing things. We then went over flying the canopy. Now, at this drop zone and many others, there's a left-hand or counterclockwise policy. That means if everybody is planning on their approaches the same way, there's less of a chance of a collision. Collisions almost never happen, but you can't be too careful. So here's a map of the area, what it looks like from altitude. Now, here's the drop zone, and this is the T, and this is what shows you which way the wind is going. The wind is going this way, and if the wind's going this way, I will be landing this way into the wind, just like airplanes do. Now, here's the main hangar. This is the experienced landing area, and this is the student or lower experience landing area. This is where I'll be landing. Now, once you open, your holding area will be somewhere around here, Herman's house as they call it. But you'll be flying around here, and then at about 1,000 feet, run with the wind to get in position for your landing. And then at about 500 feet, you make your turn this way. Don't go over the runway. And then at 250 feet, you turn on to final, and you'll be coming this way, as we said, into the wind. So when you come down, when you get to about 12 feet, you'll grab your brakes and bring them down to about here. There's a 3-step progression. Then you bring them down to here, and then at about 5 feet, you bring them all the way down. The back of your canopy will be like this, generating lift, and you'll land again, just like airplanes do, on your feet. Now I want to land like this guy. But I'll probably land like this guy. Spoiler alert, that was my landing. I flared too high. Oops. So by about noon, we were done and we were ready to jump. But we were on a bit of a wind hold. They'd been recording gusts about 20 miles an hour, maybe a little less. That's pretty docile for my experience. However, I'm back in student status and rules are rules. 14 miles an hour is the limit. So we waited, and we waited, and we waited.
So the wind has been pretty strong today, gusting up over 20. So we've been waiting since about noon, and it's about 4:30 now. So I'm getting winded out today. I shall return and we're going to make this jump.
Several days later.
So it's Tuesday the 29th and I'm back. It's a gorgeous day and this jump is definitely going to happen today. And I figure it's midweek, not going to be a lot happening, so plenty of time to concentrate on the jump. Except...
Surprise, it's the Summerfest Boogie. It's here all week. There's 200 to 300 people here. You can see they've got tents, a lot of people parked in the back, ready to go. And you look inside and the place is jam-packed full. This is like the good old days of every boogie I ever went to. This is great.
My instructor today is Ryan. We brought him up to date on my status, my training, the plan for the jump. And I've got my rig, my jumpsuit, my altimeter, my helmet, and I am ready to go. So I was going to bring my own jumpsuit. It's in perfect condition even after 20 years, but then I zipped it up. I can't breathe. We briefly went over the hand signals, but we don't expect to use them much. There are a lot of hand signals to use up there, obviously, since you can't communicate. Things like arch, do a practice pull, check your arm position, bring your legs in a little bit. But the one that you always do without hesitation is pull. We went over that in great detail.
Hey, it looks fine. Pull. We've got plenty of time.
That is another.
Pull. It's only 1,500 feet. I'm sure I can clear this thing.
How it's just like.
Pull the fucking thing. We're definitely ready to go. Groups of like 20. We are here getting ready to load.
So let's break down my jump. You've already seen my landing.
That was fucking embarrassing!
But how did I do in the air? Well, on exit, I chose just to dive out of the plane, and you'll see me blown to the side a little bit because I was sideways to the airflow. I should have thought of that. I did correct for it, but probably not as quick as in the old days. By the way, on exit, you're supposed to rock back on set when you do your ready, set, go. I was always very good at calling exits. Very loud with a good rock.
Ready, set, go! What do you think?
Love it.
And this time, I just forgot, so poor Ryan had to catch up with me. Just a little. I next do a couple of practice pulls, and those went just fine. Then we do a series of rolls, front, back, and barrel roll. I'll tell you the truth, I hate rolls. I've always hated rolls. They have no place in a skydive. I'm not very good at them, and they eat up altitude. But even though I have no place in a regular skydive, they have a very good place to check your recovery in a student skydive. So my recoveries were sloppy and slow, not terrible, but not great. I'm next to do a 360-degree turn. You can see me start, but then I kind of brain lock and come back because I know I'm running out of altitude. You'll also see him give the OK sign, which is check your altitude, your circle of awareness, because at 6,000 feet, we lock on, we track away, meaning you get away from other jumpers, and then you pull your parachute. You'll see my track. It was straight and great. I was very happy with it. And then you'll see me deploy in the distance, and then Ryan's chute comes up, and it's there, it's square, and presumably steerable. Let's look at the whole jump uninterrupted. By the way, those weren't clouds you saw behind me. That was 20 years of rust being blown off me by the wind blast. Ryan and I had a debrief on the ground of those points I mentioned, primarily on the landing and certain points of awareness. Nevertheless, I am off student status and cleared to jump. It felt fantastic to make the jump. I expect to make this an annual pilgrimage. I don't expect it'll get any more regular than that, but you never know. I didn't think I'd be playing hockey this long either. So that's it for the video. Now, if you've ever wanted to make that one skydive, or maybe more, I highly recommend Skydive Chicago. The facilities are absolutely first rate, as are the people. But wherever you are, if you want to scratch that itch, give a call or take a drive down to your local drop zone and see what it's about. So if you enjoyed the video and maybe started thinking again about jumping, or thinking about it for the first time, please give me a like. I'd sure appreciate it. And don't forget to share it with anyone you think might be thinking about it as well. There's a lot of us out there. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of my nutty content going forward, including my Beetle bits over in shorts for you fans. So long, everybody. And remember, don't forget to